Good morning to all the students of grade 8. This is a chemistry chapter. There are varieties of substances found in nature. These can be categorized into two parts. The first one is natural substances. Second one is artificial or man-made substances. Natural substances are those substances which are found naturally. For example, coal and petroleum. Natural substances are further divided into two types. They are metals and non-metals. Yes, that is our chapter number 4, metals and non-metals. If you look into the periodic table here, the metals and non-metals, the periodic table is divided into metals and non-metals. Some of the common metals you come across here are potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, carbon, zinc, iron, tin, lead, copper, silver, gold, platinum. In this list, the only two nonmetals are carbon and hydrogen. This is given based on the high reactive series to low reactive series. So the top potassium and sodium, calcium and magnesium and aluminum are highly reactive. Carbon, zinc, iron, tin and lead and hydrogen are moderate reactive. Copper, silver, gold and platinum are least reactive. Artificial substances. These are those substances which are not found in nature on and are made artificially by man. For example, chair, table, tube light, etc. According to John Dalton, matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. I repeat, matter is anything that occupies space and has mass is called matter. Dalton gave Dalton's theory in which he clearly stated that matter is made of small particles called atoms. Later on, Niels Bohr said that according to Niels Bohr theory, an atom is spherical in nature and has nucleus placed at the center of the atom. Atoms are electrically neutral. He stated that an atom has three fundamental particles as follows: electrons, protons, neutrons. Electrons are positively charged, protons are negatively charged, neutrons are not charged. In an atom, there is only one nucleus which is placed in the center. What do you understand by valence shell or orbit? The outermost shell of an atom is known as valence shell. When we look at the structure of an atom, the nucleus is at the center and electrons are moving around the nucleus in their own orbits. So the outermost orbit is known as valence shell. The number of electrons present in the outermost orbit is known as valence electrons. So the total number of electrons present in the outermost shell or orbit is known as valence electrons. What is valency? Valency is the combining capacity of an atom, or it is used when one atom combines with another atom. Valency totally depends upon the valence electrons. According to Bohr-Bury theory, the number of electrons in each orbit is given by 2n square. So if there are 8 electrons in the outermost orbit, then the atom tries to be stable. So for this, the atom either loses electrons or gains electrons to make it octet or 8 electrons in the outermost orbit. If we come across neon or argon, which are noble gases, they have 8 electrons in their outermost orbit, so they are called stable gases. Metals, these substances have 1 or 2 or 3 valence electrons. They always lose electrons. They have positive valencies. On the other hand, non-metals have these substances have 4 or 5 or 7 valence electrons. They always gain electrons. They have negative valencies. For example, whenever a metal and non-metal combine, they form a substance by interchanging their valencies. Magnesium, whose valency is 2, combines with chlorine of valency 1, becomes MgCl2. Or magnesium chloride, magnesium combines with chloride to form magnesium chloride. Introduction to metals. What are metals? Those materials which possess the characteristic of being hard, shiny, malleable, fusible, ductile, etc. are termed as metals. For example, of metals are iron, gold, silver, aluminium, copper, etc. What are the physical properties of metals? These are properties which we come to know by just touching, seeing, color, etc. What do you understand by malleability? It is the property of metals which allows them to be taken into the thin sheets. Due to presence of this property, the shape of iron nail and aluminum wire can be changed on beating. Here is an example on the screen about the gold is the most malleable metal which can be pressed into thinnest sheet. You can see the aluminum foil also. The silver foils used for decorating sweets and aluminum foil used for wrapping food. Malleable metals are aluminum and copper also. Highly malleable metals are gold and silver. The second one is conductivity. It is the property of metals which allows the current and heat to pass through them easily. For example, metals like iron, rod, nail, copper wire, etc. are good conductors of electricity. Ductivity or ductivity. It is the property of metals which allows them to be drawn into thin wires. For example, metals like aluminum and copper are used to make wires which are used in electric connection as they are ductile metals. Zinc, arsenic, and antimony are non ductile metals. You can see a copper metal is changed into thin wires. So, copper, aluminum, gold, silver can be changed into thin wires, whereas zinc, arsenic, antimony are non ductile. What do you understand by sonorous? Sonorous, it is the another property of metals which produces ringing sounds on hitting. Ringing property of metal depends on the temperature and density also. So the ability of metals to produce a particular sound when it is tapped on a hard surface is termed as the sonority. So why are bells made of metals? Metals have sonorous property. Ringing sound produces by metals is known as sonority. So bells are made up of metals. Lustrous. It is the property of metals which makes them shine and their structures are capable of reflecting incident light. Metals are lustrous, meaning they shine. The metals, this means they are shining mostly when freshly out. For example, gold, silver, copper, and platinum. Metals like sodium and potassium are soft and can be cut with a knife. Remember, sodium and potassium are metals which are soft and can be cut with a knife. Hardness. Due to the ductivity, and malleability properties, metals are very strong, and some of the metals which have the properties of non-ductile and non-malleable are not all strong. Mercury is a liquid metal, solid at room temperature. Most of the metals are solid. Particles are tightly and very closely packed at room temperature. There are a few exemptions. Mercury and gallium are the metals which are found in the liquid state at room temperature. I repeat, mercury and gallium are the metals which are found in liquid state at room temperature. Metals, another property, they have high melting and boiling point. Most of the metals have high melting and boiling points. The metals which are solid in nature always have high melting and boiling points because they are closely packed and have high attraction. There are few exemptions here also. Sodium, potassium, mercury, and gallium have low melting and boiling points. High tensile strength. The metal which can bear the strain are termed as high tensile strength metals. Here are few exemptions. Zinc, arsenic, and antimony have low tensile strength. Chemical properties of metals. Reaction of metals with oxygen. Generally, when metals are reacted with oxygen, they will form metallic oxides. These metallic oxides are basic in nature. Example, rusting of iron. Following is the reason to express it. Iron plus oxygen plus presence of moisture or water becomes iron oxide Fe2O3. Example 2, copper combines with water in presence of carbon dioxide and oxygen becomes copper hydroxide and copper carbonate. Testing of nature of rusting. Follow the given steps. Collect a spoonful of rust and dissolve it in any very little amount of water. The rust remains suspended in water. Shake the suspension well. Test the solution with red and blue litmus papers. The red litmus turns blue. So we imply that generally metallic oxides are basic in nature. So when red litmus turns blue, we consider it as base. Reaction of metals with water. Some metals react vigorously with water, like in case of sodium. It is stored in kerosene oil. I repeat, some metals react vigorously with water, like in case of sodium. That's why sodium is always stored in kerosene oil. Some metals react with water to form metallic oxides and metal hydroxides. Hydrogen gas is released in this reaction. On the other hand, some metals react with slowly with water, like in case of iron. Sodium with water to form sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Sodium plus water gives rise to sodium hydroxide. Metal plus water gives rise to metallic hydroxide plus hydrogen. Calcium and with water, calcium hydroxide plus hydrogen. Calcium plus water gives rise to calcium hydroxide. Some metals react with cold water, some with hot water, and some metals react with steam. Metals which react with cold water are more stable in their hydroxides are stable, as their hydroxides are stable. For example, potassium with water to form potassium hydroxide, which is a strong base, and hydrogen is released. Similarly, for sodium also, sodium combines with the water to form sodium hydroxide, a strong base plus hydrogen gas is released, where if you test with a burning splinter, it puts off with pop sound. Some react with the hot water and form oxides. For example, magnesium reacts with the hot water to form magnesium oxide and a hydrogen gas. Some metals react with the steam. For example, aluminium, iron, and zinc. Iron plus water gives rise to iron oxide. Here, a small mistake is done here. Let us go through some of the correct ones. Zinc plus water gives rise to zinc oxide and hydrogen. Aluminium with water gives rise to aluminium oxide and hydrogen. Copper plus water has no reaction, tendency to react with water. So I repeat, copper does not react with water. The tendency of metals to react with water is as follows. Potassium reacts highly, next sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron and copper is least reactive. So potassium, sodium, calcium are highly reactive. Magnesium, aluminum, zinc and iron are moderately reactive and copper is non-reactive with hot water. Reaction of metals with the dilute acids. Generally, a metal reacts with acid and releases hydrogen gas with a pop sound. The presence of hydrogen gas is confirmed by bringing a burning matchstick or candle near the gas. And when the burning matchstick or candle produces pop sound, then it means that hydrogen gas has evolved. For example, sodium with a HCl, NaCl plus hydrogen gas is released. Magnesium with a sulfuric acid gives rise to magnesium sulfate and hydrogen gas is released. Calcium in presence of nitric acid gives rise to calcium nitrate and hydrogen gas is released. It is found that copper does not react with HCl while it reacts with the sulfuric acid only. As copper is less reactive, HCl is more reactive, no reaction will be done. Copper does not react with dilute acids and water, as copper is less reactive than HCl. Reaction of metals with a metal salt solution. When salt of metal B reacts with metal A, so salt of metal B plus metal A gives rise to salt of metal A plus metal. Let us go through the example. Copper sulfate, which is blue color salt, plus zinc. Copper sulfate solution plus zinc, which is more reactive, gives rise to zinc sulfate, colorless zinc sulfate, plus copper is displaced from it. So from copper sulfate, copper is removed by zinc. Zinc displaces copper. The five important uses of metals are as follows. Lead is used in X-ray machines. Iron is used in construction. Mercury is used in thermometers. Gold and silver are used in making jewelry. Aluminum foil is used for packing food. I repeat, some of the important uses of metals are lead is used in X-ray machines. Iron is used in construction. Mercury is used in thermometers. Gold and silver are used in making jewelry. Aluminum foil is used for packing food. Now, the question arises, what are noble metals? Noble metals are those metals which are not reactive, while some are less reactive. There are certain metals that do not react with oxygen, water, moisture, or even any of the dilute acids. We can imply that they are very unreactive. For example, gold and platinum. Here are some of the noble metals. If you observe on your screen, you can come across some of the known metals like copper, silver, platinum, Au, gold, ruthenium, Ru, rhodium, Rh, palladium, Pd, silver, Ag, osmium, Os, iridium, Ir, platinum, Pt, and gold, Au are considered as noble metals. Let us go through some of the textual activities given. Take a small iron nail, a coal piece, a piece of thick aluminum wire, and a pencil lead. Beat the iron nail with a hammer, but take care that you don't hurt yourself in the process. Try to hit hard the aluminum wire also. Then repeat the same kind of treatment on the coal piece and pencil lead. Record your observation. Look at a table. Iron nail flattens, coal piece breaks into pieces, aluminum wire flattens, pencil lead breaks into pieces. This activity shows that iron and aluminum are malleable while coal piece and pencil lead are brittle. Thus metals are malleable and non-metals are non-malleable. In activity 2, page number 45, recall how to make an electric circuit to test whether electricity can pass through an object or not. You might have performed the activity with various objects in class 6. Now repeat the activity with the materials mentioned in table 4.2 in your textbook. Observe and group these materials into good conductors and poor conductors. Iron rod or nail, good conductor because the bulb glows when your circuit is complete. Sulfur, poor conductor. Coal piece, poor conductor. Copper wire is a good conductor. Fill these tables in the textbook. It shows that metals are good conductors of electricity and non-metals are poor conductors of electricity. In activity 3, textbook page 46, let us check the nature of rust formed as a result of the reaction between iron, oxygen and water. Collect a spoonful of rust and dissolve it in a very little amount of water. You will find that the rust remains suspended in water. Shake the suspension well. Test the solution with red and blue litmus papers. What do you observe? Is the solution acidic or basic solution? We observe that the red litmus paper turns blue, which shows that the nature of rust is basic. Blue litmus paper does not show any color change with the solution. Activity 4, textbook page number 47. Take a small amount of powdered sulfur in a deflagrating spoon and heat it. If the deflagrating spoon is not available, you may take a metallic cap of any bottle and wrap a metallic wire around it and give it shape shown in figure 4.4a. As soon as the sulfur starts burning, introduce the spoon into a gas jar. Cover the tumbler with a lid to ensure that the gas produced does not escape. Remove the spoon after some time, add a small quantity of water into the tumbler and quickly replace the lid. Shake the tumbler well. Check the solution with red and blue litmus papers. We observe that the solution of oxide turns the blue litmus red. So blue litmus is changed to red by acids, which shows that the solution is acidic in nature. This also shows that oxide of nonmetals is acidic in nature. So children of grade 8, that's all for today. And next we shall continue with introduction to nonmetals. Thank you. That's all for this today's class. Please do fill up all the tables given in your activities in your textbook. Table 4.2, table 4.1, and remember the noble metals, uses of metals, reaction of metals with hot water, cold water, reactive series, highly reactive potassium, sodium, and least reactive is copper and gold. So what are the properties of metals? Ductivity, malleability, conductivity, sonority, good conductors of heat and electricity. So metals react with acids to form hydrogen gas. When you put a burning splinter into the jar containing hydrogen, it gives pop sound. So who are the scientists who said matter is made up of particles? John Dalton, the English chemist. He is also a teacher who became a famous chemist. So high reacting series to low reacting series. Potassium is a highly reactive metals. Next comes sodium, and least is silver, gold, and platinum. That's all for today's metals and non-metals chapter. You have learned about metals. Thank you.